right? I'm actually a proponent of the transfer portal. And I say that I'm a proponent. I say that I am one that supports the transfer portal because I believe that the young men and women out there, student athletes in college, the young adults, right, should have options on their career. And so I'm all for student athletes being able to transfer. I just encourage you to use the transfer portal wisely. What up, everybody? It's your boy JK. You're now listening and watching another episode of the Tackle Thursday with JK podcast, and I am your host, JK. And you know I'm all about helping young adults win in many facets of their life, and I do so by tackling different topics each week on the podcast that young adults are facing or experiencing. And being a former athlete, man, this week, and especially being national championship week and college football playoff, right? The topic that we're going to tackle today, that I want you to tackle, my young adults out there, especially my student athletes, right, is use the transfer portal wisely. Use the transfer portal wisely. And being a former collegiate athlete that did not, right, was not in college when the NIL was created or even the transfer portal. I think that I don't want to be the uncle or the mad uncle on the sideline or the uncle that look like he hating on the youngsters, right? The grumpy uncle, because things are different, right? I'm actually a proponent of the transfer portal. And I say that I'm a proponent. I say that I am one that supports the transfer portal because I believe that the young men and women out there, student athletes in college, the young adults, right, should have options on their career. I think that when I was in school, you had to make a decision at 17, 18 years old about, right, have to make a commitment and stay true to that commitment all the way through 21, 22 years old, unless you wanted to face some type of punishment in the sense of having a year taken from you if you transferred, right? And so I'm all for student athletes being able to transfer. I just encourage you to use the transfer portal wisely. That's what I want to tackle today and talk about, because I know this is a new day and age, man. As a young adult student athlete in college, right? It's a new day and age, and I don't sit here and think that I know everything about what's actually going on. I got friends I got people that I know that are head coaches, position coaches, and some high level division won football teams, but even, you know what I mean, I'm friends with a national championship coach, right? And so I hear and I understand a little bit, right, about what a transfer portal may look like, what it may sound like, right? And so I just got really just three things that I want to just talk about briefly, as I encourage my young adult student athletes out there to use the transfer portal wisely if you choose to use it at all. And the one thing that we got to ask ourselves, right, is like, what are the benefits of the portal? Right? Just like with anything, anytime that we making a decision in life, we got to ask ourselves, what are the benefits? Like, if I make this decision, what are the pros? What good is coming out of me making this decision or me choosing to, right, in this case, transfer? And so I jotted down some things, right? A new place, a new scenery, new opportunity to start over. Like, sometimes we need fresh starts. And so if that's you and you are at your college, your institution, and things ain't just going right, and you don't like what's going on, you didn't get off to a great start, you just want a fresh start, right? then the transfer portal might be for you. And it might make sense and be a legitimate reason on, hey, look, man, transfer, right? You want a new start, fresh start? Okay, right? Fresh start, new opportunity. You want to get closer to home because you decided, you made a commitment at 17, 18 years old. You thought you wanted to go far off, then you got a little older, and say, hey, look, man, I'm trying to get back home, right? I'm trying to get back home. Then on the flip side, now because you got NIL money out there might be more money out there for you to make. I know a couple of instances of some student athletes, right? Young adult student athletes who they were at their institution and they got offered that bag. They got offered that bag and they transferred, right? And it's kind of like, they're being poached by bigger schools. Whether you start at a Division II school, get poached up, or you at a D1 AA school, you get to a mid-major, or you had a mid-major and the Power Fives come get you, right? So you using a transfer portal, like, look, man, I could go make, X amount of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars over here. Then that might make sense for you, because at the end of the day, we're all going to hang up the cleats, hang up the gym shoes, whatever sport you play, you're going to hang it up. And so when you're done playing, you want to be able to transition into your next career flawlessly, right? Or you want to be able to have the means to be able to start a life. And so when I was in school, we thought the only way that we thought, okay, I could get my money right, I got to go to the league. But nowadays you see young adult, and I get it, young adults, man, hey, don't rush. Why rush to professional sports? If you can make good money in college, man, use it. Where you a celebrity in your town, you a celebrity in your city, like, use that. Use your likeness to your advantage. Leverage, build those relationships. It's key. It's important, right? So if you have opportunities out there to make more money and put yourself in a better position, but even when you're done playing collegiate ball, and even when you're done playing professional ball, even if you don't go play professional, but even when you're done playing collegiate ball, if you got an opportunity to go make a lot of money and it puts you in a better position, man, I say go do it. So, like I say, if you're considering the transfer portal, use it wisely. And one of the ways I suggest you when you're thinking about the transfer portal, think about, okay, what are the benefits? What am I getting out of this? Why should I leave? And that's just in general, when we're making decisions in life, we got to ask, what am I getting out of this? Is it a lateral move? Is it a downgrade? Or is it an upgrade? We want to go, we want to be ascending. I got a quote that I came up with. God bless me with. It says, your life should be a run-on sentence of wins and accomplishments. So wherever, you're transferring, wherever you're going, the goal should be ascending. You should be trying to ascend, right? Like you really should be attempting, in my opinion, to ascend, right? Yeah, you should be ascending, right? And so for me, and so once you realize, okay, what are the benefits of the portal? Now I got to ask myself, what are the cons? What are the cons of the portal? What are the cons of me transferring to that place? Or what are the cons of me leaving? See, we can't just think about the pros and be like, hey, I'm going to just make a decision. And that's with anything. Don't just choose a job based off the pros. Don't just choose a significant other based off just the pros, right? You got to consider, what are the cons? What are the things that I don't like, or that I might not be fond of about that school, about that place, about that situation? Consider the cons, right? And so the things where I look at it, the transfer portal, some of the cons when young adults are considering, transferring, is that if you leave your current situation too soon, you might not fully develop. See, I think that one good thing about the system when I was playing college football, the transfer system, how that was set up, is that it kind of forced you to stay in your situation, and whether you liked it or you didn't like it, right? And so what I realized is that when you stay through a situation and it's uncomfortable, you grow, you get better. Like a plant can't grow in comfort. A plant grows in discomfort, right? You got to toil the soil. You planting. It's rain. You might go through the winter time. You know what I'm saying? All the different things that a plant goes through before so that it grows. It's not just comfortable. And so a lot of times I see from the outside looking in, I see players transferring. Oh, they brought somebody in that plays your position. Transfer. Instead of allowing that competition to rub off on you and get you better. Right? Now don't get me wrong. Now, RG3 said this. He said talent respects talent, right? Not that you're scared of competition, but talent respects talent. So I knew when I was coming out of high school that I was not going to Western Michigan because they had two true sophomores playing, one at safety, one at corner. So talent respected talent. I was not afraid to go and compete, but I knew, man, they played early. They're gonna be playing for the next 2-3 years. So that could cut into my playing time. Let me go somewhere where I can play early. And I was blessed to do that. So I started playing as a freshman. So I'm a freshman playing, starting some games, started 7 games my freshman year, 7 or 5, one of them. Right. And I played as a true freshman. So the decision I made was talent respects talent. So if you in a situation where they've been brought in talent behind you and they giving them, you know what I'm saying, and it ain't about just competing, that they just trying to give that person a job and you want to transfer, that makes sense a little bit, right? Just make sure it's still the right decision, but don't let just competition alone be the reason you transfer, because that if I lead that competition could make you stronger. That competition, man, my best season in the arena league was when my coach chose to bring somebody on the team that played the same position as me, and they brought that person on the team while I was on the team after we just won a championship. I'm like, what? Cool, what's going on? But that brought the best out of me. But if I would have chose to transfer out of that situation, I would not have developed into the player, right, that I am, even into the man that I am, because now I get in a situation, this competition. Oh yeah, let's go. I ain't running, right? Now, so don't just transfer, right? Because of competition, because if you leave too soon, then you don't fully develop, right? And then another con about the transfer portal is that the transfer portal, it continuing to transfer limits the great relationships you can build. And that is key, because life after ball. So if I keep transferring from school to school, I'm not really developing strong relationships. And when you're done playing, what I've learned is that when you're done playing, it's those relationships you cultivate while playing that you utilize when you're not playing. So if I'm just transferring from school to school and I'm only spending 1 year there, it's going to be hard for me to have long life relationships. And that could, I don't want to say limit you in life, but that could present a challenge, right? Because you might not have those strong relationships like somebody that stayed off for years at their school, 4, 5, 6 years at their school. So that is a con from the transfer portals, that you don't have opportunity to build those relationships. So me being at my school for 4 years, man, I got some strong relationships that people I could call, amen, opportunities that I've gotten. I talked about how I got the job on ESPN and calling the games, right, on the ESPN platforms. I talked about those relationships. Coach Stock, how I could just call Coach Stock up. Like, I talked about that, but that's because I was there for 4 years. I built those relationships were built over time. Right. So if you're considering the transfer portal, you got to consider those cons. You got to consider, hey, man, if I transfer too soon, I might not fully develop, right? And who God has called me to be, who I'm supposed to be as a player or as a person, as an athlete, right? And then lastly, just advice, right? Just advice. My piece of advice, real quickly, is just a piece of advice for those that are in the transfer portal, considering the transfer portal. You got to ask yourself why. Why am I entering the transfer portal? Because when I chose this school, I chose it for a reason. So ask yourself, what has occurred that makes me want to now change my decision? And you might have a legitimate reason. And then also, you got to ask yourself, am I trying to transfer because of things I've done? Or am I trying to transfer because of things that have happened out of my control? So what I mean by that is, if you're missing practice, if you're coming late, if you're not working hard, if you're not playing well, if you don't have a great work ethic, if you're failing classes and you end up getting benched or getting pushed down the depth chart, that's your fault. So if you're transferring because they did that to you, but it was out of a response of your bad decisions, poor decisions, then that's you. So that same work ethic is just going to follow you when you transfer to a new place. But if you know, man, I'm grinding, I'm working my tail off, I'm doing everything I could or everything I can. New coaches just came in. I'm not their guy. I'm not their girl. They want to make changes. I want to get, I need to transfer and get to a better situation. Okay. Those are circumstances out of your control. Right. So those are just some things, man. I think that as the young adult student athletes out there, man, listening, just to consider is when you think about the transfer portal, man, what are the benefits of the portal of me transferring? What are the cons of me transferring? And then ask yourself, why am I even thinking about transferring? Is it because of something I've done and I put myself in a tough situation, or is it because of something that's out of my control? Right. So, man, if you out there in that situation, you're thinking about transfer portal, I think considering those three things, going through those three things, reflecting on those three things, as far as what are the pros, what are the cons, and then why am I even considering transferring, I think you'll be able to make a good decision on whether you should stay or transfer. All right. So, man, that's the episode, man. That's the show for the day, man. Y'all continue to wake up, strive to win on purpose, be intentional about winning, and y'all have a blessed day. Thank y'all.